Weather Lab. Here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, we look forward to the days where we're not talking about Harvey and rainfall, and that may be by the end of the week, late Thursday, Friday. We might get back to a typical summer scenario, but still, the threat of flooding rains and a tropical storm that's going to be Southwest Louisiana. We do have tropical storm warnings on the coast, and we'll talk more about that in just a bit. So take a look at the radar satellite composite. We have still the rainfall back through Houston. It's just adding insult to injury. It hasn't been overly heavy, but it's not helping. And this rainfall has been persistent and widespread across southeast Texas. And then getting closer to home, we do have some stronger rain bands developing that have produced tornado warnings a little bit earlier. We'll get to that in just a bit. Rainfall totals 20 to 35 inches across a huge area of Texas. Some numbers being thrown out there, 11 trillion gallons of water. Bottom line is like putting Salt Lake, the Great Salt Lake, and dumping it right on southeast Texas. And then you get farther to the east, the rainfall totals haven't been too bad. Lafayette on northeastward, but back to the west, you can see we have areas of blue showing up. That's pushing 10 inches of rain. This is over the last 5 days, and here are some selected spots. We had across the region over 15 inches of rain across portions of Cameron Parish, mainly for the alligators there. Lake Charles accumulated 2.7 today, so far 9 inches. And then we get into portions of Vermilion Parish, over 10 inches of rain so far. We get closer to New Iberia, Jeanerette, 8 inches, about Southern Lafayette Parish, 6 inches, 6.5 by Palmetto. And then you get farther to the north up toward Ville Platte, just about 4 inches of rain. So these are the folks at the most greatest risk of flooding because there's been so much rain recently. And this is probably where the heaviest rain is going to be over the next several days and even over the next several hours. We've had this train of showers and storms producing heavy rainfall and flood warnings across portions of Jeff Davis and Cameron Parish, and there's more activity building offshore, and we think that's going to be moving inland later on tonight. Here are the heavy storms as we go into eastern Calcasieu, Jeff Davis Parish, down through the Grand Lake area, and just west of the Pecan Island area, some very intense rainfall. Also, want to show you the velocity data here. Notice we have green to red. There is some wind here, and there's more than likely some pretty rough weather in this activity as it continues to move to the north. So we have that watching the velocity. So we had tornado warnings earlier, and we do have a tornado watch in effect for the entire area through midnight tonight. Mainly the Highway 190 parishes on southward, with the exception of St. Landry, and then the flood watches that go through Thursday. That's not anything new. Our flood risk is still very high. We'll talk more about the risks. So here's the big picture. Harvey down here south of Brazos Park, but we do see convection beginning to bubble up right here, and we also see those tropical showers offshore. We'll see if these get better organized. If they do, we're going to have a good 3 to 6 inch rainfall just this evening and overnight tonight. Here's the track on Harvey. Makes a second landfall upper Texas coast, maybe Cameron come Wednesday. The National Hurricane Center not going for much in the way of intensification because there is some drier air wrapping into this system, but a 55 or 60 mile an hour storm prior to landfall not out of the question, so we will have to watch that closely. Tropical storm warnings off to the west, but now they've been extended for Cameron and Vermilion parishes. That means tropical storm conditions within the next 36 hours. That means wind gusts over 39 and more than likely squalls and the whole 9 yards, with tides coming up. Storm surge watch along the coast. We do think tides 1 to 3 per the National Hurricane Center, but I think it might be a little bit more than that if we have a slightly stronger system, and that's going to keep the rainwater from draining out into the Gulf of Mexico, particularly the Vermilion and the Mermentau. So some issues going into tonight. You can see the rain and storms per the latest predictive radar really active at least through midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, then a bit of a break, and then more storms developing as those storms that we see this evening are pushing off to the east. And we see that on Futurecast. The only thing I got against Futurecast is where it's putting the low pressure system. But here we are first thing in the morning. Maybe rain chances not too high, but they get high quickly by mid-morning. Rain and storms and another several inches of rain is certainly a possibility. Heaviest rains on the northern flank of this system, and notice Futurecast likes to bring this system earlier into southwest Louisiana. We won't plan on that right now, but we will continue to plan on the rains. And as we get into Wednesday, that's when it's going to be breezy, and we could see some tropical squalls that could produce wind gusts in excess of 35 up to 45 miles an hour. Here's the rainfall total next 36 hours only, and we still have these areas of white that are pushing 15 to 20 inches of rain, so got to watch that. Most of us getting anywhere between 6 and 12 will say. Isolated spots perhaps more. Plan on 6 for 12, and hopefully it doesn't come in a short period of time. And then we have all that rain across southeast Texas, another foot to 2 there. So here's the threat. Harvey local impact. Storm surge watch along the coast. Flooding rain, additional 6 to 12. Likely isolated spots 15 to 20, but the risk and the impacts lighten up toward the end of the week. Wind damage, not expecting much, but it'll get interesting on Wednesday. Some gusts 40 to 45 on the coast, away from the tropical rain bands, and then inland with some squalls that we might see. A tornado threat will continue in the next couple of days, so tornado watches again probably tomorrow and probably Wednesday. So tropical storm conditions going into Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, rain chances begin to tone down, and we get back to a summer pattern, we hope, for the weekend. Plenty of clouds and still rain chances, though, and it looks unsettled through next Wednesday, but a carrot at the end of the 10 days, maybe a front. Look at that, 67 a week from Wednesday night.
All right.
Coming up